Let's look at the Hurricane Ian tracker warnings and advisories. Georgia Governor Kemp to declare a state of emergency on Tuesday afternoon ahead of the hurricane. Storm surge watch was issued for the entire Georgia coast, and a tropical storm warning is put out for multiple counties in the southern part of the state. Storms projected to strike Florida's Gulf Coast as a Category 4 hurricane on Wednesday before making its way north. Parts of Georgia and South Carolina could see flooding on Thursday into the weekend. Western Cuba is underwater already. The Tampa mayor fields calls from the president during a press conference. And I would like to point out at this point that the president still hasn't called Governor DeSantis. President Biden on Hurricane Ian. Evacuations going fairly orderly before storm. President Biden said Tuesday that evacuations of Florida ahead of the impact of Hurricane Ian have been going on fairly orderly. Tuesday. Your safety is more important than anything, and I know our hearts are with everyone who will feel the effects of the storm and will be with you every step of the way. We're not going away, he said. The president said he had spoken with the mayors of Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater earlier in the day, saying that they could contact him directly for whatever they needed in the coming days. I mean this sincerely. Whatever they need, contact me directly, and they know how to do that. I have a lot of personnel down there already. We're here to support them in every way we can. He said he had directed his team to surge federal assistance to Florida before the storm hit, with FEMA deploying thousands of personnel in addition to members of the National Guard. FEMA said it was pre-positioning supplies and personnel to strategic locations in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. So we see that there's nothing about contacting DeSantis. And you see this from an hour ago. White House dodges on Biden snubbing Ron DeSantis ahead of Hurricane Ian landfall. But I want you to know the main thing. We have to vote Democrat to stop hurricanes. Amy Klobuchar suggests voting Democrat will help stop hurricanes. That's why we've got to win this. Klobuchar says we just did something about climate change before invoking Hurricane Ian. They just did something, and you got to do something about these hurricanes. It's Republicans. They cause it. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, suggested on Tuesday that voting for Democrats in November and winning the midterms would help them with hurricanes and climate change. We just did something about climate change for the first time in decades. That's why we've got to win this as the hurricane bears down on Florida. We've got to win in the midterms. We understand that, Klobuchar said after listing several legislative wins during an appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe. Floridians have been preparing for Hurricane Ian for the past 2 days, as residents of the Key West are already experiencing strong winds and rain squalls. Morning Joe host Joe Scarborough told Klobuchar he wanted to celebrate bipartisan achievements in Congress and said two things could be true at the same time. This thing's coming. There's a track. You should see where you're at involved in that. If you can get out of the way, get out of the way. And real quickly, let's cover some of the things you should do to prep for a hurricane. This from Erie Insurance. It's a list. Make an emergency plan. Know your evacuation route. Sign up for trusted alerts and warnings. Be aware that your cell phone and stuff can go out. Find a trusted radio news station. Locate important documents. Check your insurance policy. That's one thing people typically forget. You get your insurance policy, washes away, and things like that. It's hard to get stuff done. Create a home inventory. Build an emergency kit. Invest in a generator. Protect your pets. Don't forget about your pets. Getting out of the way is the big part of this. If you can, you have the means, just take a trip. Go stay with somebody up north. Someone that's out of the path. Put yourself up in a hotel. Something along those lines to create a little bit of distance between you and your property that's just property. So do everything you can. Know that when the power goes out, there's not always going to be help available. There's not always going to be electricity. There's not always going to be clean water. And just stay safe out there. Regardless of politics, be smart. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. And your pets. Don't forget about your pets.